I love everything about coffee, but time and time again, you see singing teachers warning you about the effects of coffee on your voice. Do you need to give up coffee to be a great singer? Let's find out.
Ooh, let's go!
I have a very complicated relationship with coffee. I learned about the magic of coffee when I was a freshman in high school. We had a summer reading assignment and I procrastinated the entire summer to not have to read it. Then, because I put it off, I had to read the entire book and do the book report in 1 week. But I had a secret weapon. I secretly stole some of my parents' flavorful hazelnut coffee, and it gave me enough energy to read for hours at a time. In the end, I completed the report right before the deadline. The combination between energy and the ability to focus got me hooked immediately. I continued drinking coffee all throughout college, where I was studying advertising, because, you were always having to come up with tons of new ideas, and sometimes the tank would be empty. My addiction got even worse when I went to go work at an advertising agency in San Francisco, and having several cups of strong coffee a day was the only way I could make it through that corporate drudge. But it wasn't until I started my professional career as a singer, playing in the different open mics and at the train stations, that I noticed something. Coffee made my brain feel good, but it seemed to make my voice worse. It made my voice feel kind of dry, but at the time I didn't think much of it. Sure, I had a theater director in high school who warned us not to drink milk before performances because it creates mucus in your throat. But coffee seemed to be in a different class. I mean, everyone drinks it, so it shouldn't make that big of a difference, right? When I would perform in the train stations in San Francisco and my voice didn't work the way that I wanted to, I just assumed that I needed to warm up more or drink more water. 10 years later, I'm a full-time vocal coach teaching a huge schedule of regular singing students. Every day I'm teaching students, writing, shooting, and editing videos for this channel and for my website, and trying to have a social life. Coffee is now an important tool that I use to deliver great vocal instruction to all my students on time. But there's a problem. Coffee is really hard on my voice, and I feel like I'm totally alone in this. According to one study, each day 150 million Americans drink coffee. So that leads me to the question, am I just being sensitive? Primarily, coffee seems to make my vocal break worse. To prove it, I ran an experiment where I filmed myself doing warm-ups on a day that I hadn't drank any coffee compared to warm-ups on a day when I had drank coffee. Okay, this morning I had coffee and my voice is really cracking. There it was. Okay, so it's the next day, no coffee today, so let's just see how bad my break is today. My voice feels like it's moving a lot faster. No break today. You can see clear as day that my vocal break is worse on the day that I had coffee. Do I just not tolerate it as well as I used to? That's very possible. That's not to mention what coffee does to my voice. In my case, drinking coffee seems to cause my throat to create more mucus. This is something that I learned when I saw Dr. Chad Whitehead at Austin ENT and he performed a laryngoscopy to look at my vocal cords. And that kind of makes sense when you think about how certain foods and beverages kind of create more mucus in your throat. If the vocal folds have a lot of mucus on them, then you have more gunk that you have to sing through, and it makes singing more difficult. Now, most studies on caffeine in the voice point to its diuretic effect, meaning that it makes you pee, and the more that you pee, the more dehydrated you're going to be. And what do the vocal cords need in order to perform well? Lots of hydration. But what if you drink coffee but have lots of water to kind of balance it out? That's what I try to do, but it doesn't seem to solve my problem. For me, there seems to be kind of a chain reaction. Since I feel more mucus in my throat, I start drinking tons of water and kind of clearing my throat in order to try to get it out. Of course, throat clearing leads to more throat clearing, which causes your vocal cords to secrete more mucus, which leads to more trying to clear it out, and you get the picture. Of course, all this makes your vocal break worse. If you drink coffee often, you may not even notice the effect that it has on your voice. You may be so used to the effects that you don't even notice it. But there may be things that coffee is doing to your voice that you don't even realize. Which means I want you to run an experiment and try to find out. Every body is different and everyone processes different things differently. I told myself for many years that it wasn't impacting my voice at all. I kind of made this deal in my mind that it was like the energy that it gave me outweighed any negative effects it might be having on my voice, until I tested it out. How can you test this out yourself? Try doing a vocal warm-up on a day when you've had coffee, and then try skipping coffee one day and do the same vocal warm-up again. Do you notice a difference? If you do, maybe you need to think about how you use coffee and what it does for you. For instance, if you're a vocalist and you have a big recording or performance coming up, maybe consider not having coffee on that day. Sure, the caffeine will give you confidence and energy, but if it's detrimental to your vocal tone, maybe think about giving it up for that day. Or on the other hand, you may find that you actually sing better with coffee, that the energy that it gives you improves your performance. For me, drinking coffee makes me feel like I'm having to fight through something when I sing. I don't want singing to be an uphill battle, and probably neither do you. That means that, like me, you probably need to take every advantage that you can get to make your voice sound its best. Now I want to hear from you. Do you notice whether coffee is damaging your voice? Are you planning to give it up in order to sing your best? What's your plan to keep your voice healthy? Let me know in the comments below.